Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record weekly review special for week 11 of the Game Decathlon competition. This week, I brought in a solid 4,492 points, almost 500 points up from a week ago, and not too far off from the best round, which is now a few weeks past at 4,648. Current virtual best also significant rise to 5,258, and the all-time virtual best going up by about 100 to 7,350. Breaking down the games individually, PCM 19 career mode now at 212 points, still very early in the season, but accumulating points early and often. In the stage racer, continuing to exceed the new record that we set just a couple weeks ago, 592 points now in the middle of the Tour de France, and this next week we'll be wrapping that up. Just one more episode to go, and that should come with a pretty good amount of points as well, especially when I lead the King of the Mountains classification, not quite wrapped up, but close, and looking like a definite top 10, maybe a top 5. Probably not a podium on the overall, but not bad for a first time at the Tour de France. In the FM20 Zero to Hero series, not quite wrapped up the season, but did enough to exceed our previous season's record, now at 211, but we're just about to the end of the season, and that score will go up a little bit higher. A few inactive games already retired, and then we jump down to Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2020. Season ended 1 point shy of our record. Yeah, 1 point. That's crazy. Founder's Fortune, 305 points. This one just 2 weeks on the channel now, and not a massive jump from where we were in the first week, but a lot of the early things, it takes longer to make progress as the game goes on. But that one will continue to play at full speed. Not a lot of views. It's not a very well-known game. It's a very small indie game. But I'm having a lot of fun playing it, so I'll just keep recording and playing and putting some videos out, and eventually somebody will sit and watch, and if they don't, they don't, and that's fine. It's time well spent. Next up is Broken Lines. This one was only on the channel for 3 weeks. 16 episodes was enough to beat the entire game. I finished with 655 points. Breakdown on that, without going into crazy detail or anything, 50 points for each mission complete. There were 12 in the game. Knockdowns, I had 6 times where one of my characters was knocked down. I never lost any of them, though a mission by default lost one of them, but I never lost any of the 6 characters, or any of the characters. But 6 knockdowns was minus 10 points each. And then for the missions, we finished with 11 gold and 1 silver. Golds were worth 10 points, silvers were worth 5. Now, going back, the game has replayability, and I could have had higher scores based on playing at the maximum difficulty, but we played on the default normal difficulty. And there's variations, there's different ways to play it. The game has value in going back and doing that. But not for me, not for the channel. It didn't make sense to go back and start over again. It certainly wouldn't have come with the same amount of views, but it was definitely a fun game. Definitely worth it. And the amazing thing is, it is an indie developer, very small developer out of Denmark on that game. It's quite enjoyable for a team that size, what they were able to produce. Finishes at 655 points, and that's a pretty good total. It's not the greatest, of course, but it's a good total, and it is good enough to crack the top 10, at least for now. Football Manager 2020 season is done, but we are not. 550 points is where we wrap up the season. We finished in 4th place, but 4th place is good enough for the playoff promotions. So we're going to be in the promotion playoffs for next season. So next week, we should see that play out. It could take up to 2 episodes. I would imagine I'll be able to get it done in 1, though. 2 or 3 matches to play. If we come out of the semifinal, it'll be 3 matches. If we don't, then it's just 2. But a chance for a spot in the Premier League. pretty exciting. On the all-time virtual best side, the big mover and shaker, of course, is Broken Lines. It went from 20th all the way up to 7th place, but of course that was a lot of episodes to make that move, and got to the end of the game to make that move. It's one of only a few games that I actually got all the way to the end on and won with. Not many of these games have reached their completion stage. PCM 18, the Pro Cyclist, highest score, and it was the end of a season, but it certainly wasn't the end, and it wasn't all goals accomplished and just shy. Rebel Inc., we beat Brutal once, wasn't entirety. EU4, I got to the end of the timeline, 1821, got all the way there. So that's one of the few. Imperator Rome, I finished what I set out. We became Gaul. There was plenty of time left to go on that one, and I easily would have hit 1,000 points. 7 Days to Die, we technically got to the end. We survived the 70-plus days, minus the deaths. But because of difficulty, that was the maximum score. So, not many games have actually truly reached the completion. And so it was nice to complete a game, but of course it just wasn't a max score, and that's fine. The game lacks content slightly, but for the indie developer, the playability, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. Well worth it. That shifts everything below it down a spot, including the PCM 19 Stage Racer from recently cracking the top 10 to back out off the list down to 11th, which of course it bumped Football Manager at the time from 10th to 11th, and now that bumps down another spot to 12th. Both of those are increasing their scores, and yet they get bumped out by Broken Lines. You can see one or both of them making their way back up the list. However, FM were at the end of the season. There's only 2 to 3 matches to play, so there's only 9 points still to score. There's no bonuses for promotion playoffs as some sort of tournament or positional finish. So we're only going to accumulate as much as 9 points. So FM will not re-enter the top 10 list, at least not this season. Founders Fortune moves up 2 spots with its increase in score, but it's still only 28th. And we did hit a new landmark. Very briefly, that movement is just 1 spot. So we moved from 78th up to 77th on the list, passing Nigeria, which is Peter Moreno. Next up is Fiji, less than 50 points away. Philippines coming up after that, Zimbabwe from there, and those are all pretty close. So any significant rise will see us move quite a few spots, and we're not far from cracking the top 75, so looking forward to that. But that's going to do it for this review special. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.